You are watching the Doctalk show.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, we are discussing the state of quality of drugs as regulated by the National Drug Authority. With me in studio are representatives from the NDA to tell us more about quality of drugs on the market. So, Dr. Brian, with regards storage of drugs, when people buy drugs from pharmacies, from drug shops, how exactly should they keep these drugs at home?
Yeah, so someone will be wondering why we talk about quality of medicines and then we are talking about storage. Like from where we started from, we have a product that is coming from a manufacturer of a particular quality. So throughout the trail up to when it gets to the patient who's going to use it, it has to go through certain measures, it has to be maintained particular way, it has to be moved a particular way, it has to be stored a particular way. So even when you buy that product from a pharmacy, you who is going to use it, you have to keep it in particular way so that it's of the effect for which you bought it for. So one, when you buy a product, ask, like I said, always ask for this information. This product, they say, keep it in a cool, dry place. Now, as a country, we do not have so many cool, we may not be at a luxury of having cool places. Sometimes we have hot areas in our homes. Maybe sometimes we don't. But if you have the least hot place in a home, pick out that place. That's where you should keep your medicine. It may not be very cool, but pick the least hot. That doesn't mean you put it on the floor, because one of the things you're going to have a problem with if you have children, then that means these products are accessible to children. So one, look out for a place that's not accessible to children if you have children. Look out for the least hot place in the home, and then look at a place that's not liable to water seeping through. That means you don't put it on a gutter, you don't put it on a place where water can easily come into contact with this product. That's why I'm saying it's a dry place.
Okay.
And then look out a place where, if possible, is not accessible by many, even not children. So in other words, if you can, it's a cabinet, please look out for one that can actually lock, and make it clearly labeled that these are medicines, such that no one comes and picks and takes. So it is people know it's medicines. Where possible, it's locked, cool, and dry.
Okay.
Yes.
Dr. William, some drugs we understand require cold environments. They have to be kept like in a fridge or below a certain temperature. If someone doesn't have access to a fridge, what should they do in that scenario? For example, I think some of the drugs like insulin for diabetes, some are kept in cold environments. What should they do in such scenarios?
Some have, I think, kept them in pots, because I think pots tend to cool. Others tend to put them in flasks to try and ensure that just the temperature is maintained. I think those are some of the major things we've done. Now others, yeah, usually it's trying to ensure that the temperature is between the 2 and 8 degrees that is recommended by the manufacturers. For some who are maybe stay near pharmacies, others have maybe worked out a relationship with the pharmacy that I do not have a place at home, but can I keep my insulin at the pharmacy, and whenever I need shots, I maybe go pick it from there.
If someone has a drug at home and it expires, what do they do with it? What should be done about it? Or do they throw it in the dustbin? Are there ways these drugs can be safely removed?
Yes, that's a very interesting question. I should say, and I think not many communicate this, when you get a product and it has overstayed its use, it can happen. You may not have consumed the whole dose of the product they gave you, or unfortunately you lost someone and they take a particular medicine, so it has overstayed its use. I request the public out there, pick all these medicines, return them to the pharmacy from which you obtain them. These pharmacies have procedures and guidelines on how to manage these expiries, working with the national regulator, which is National Drug Authority. Please pack all these medicines, take them to your pharmacy from which you picked. Chances are high you may not have picked from one pharmacy, but if you asked, you can easily deliver them to the National Drug Authority where possible, but always endeavor to ensure that you return them to the pharmacy from which you bought.
Okay.
Why is it wrong to throw them in the toilet, throw them in the rubbish pit? These medicines are being made with so many chemicals in them. These medicines exposed to the earth may be detrimental to the earth in which we live in. So at the end of the day, you're causing trouble to the earth on which you live, which may be a long-term effect, may not be a very good effect on the earth or on the ground on which you've thrown.
Are there procedures in place to make sure the pharmacies do not resell those expired drugs you're bringing?
Well, one of the things we do during our regular supervision of what is required of pharmacies and pharmacists is keeping records of all expired medicines. One thing to note is that you cannot eliminate expiries per se. This can best be minimized, and these have to be managed. So obviously we also have to keep our intelligence on the ground. Once we hear that such a vice is happening, then whoever is got will be put to book. Yes,
So
but
public have to be vigilant to make sure the drugs they are buying are not
expired, yes. And whenever they buy any expired medication, they should inform us. Yes.
Okay. So another interesting question you people might have is regarding tablets versus injections. Where the people commonly think injections are stronger than the tablets. Any word of advice for the public?
Medicines are made in different types of formulations. Formulations, I mean, they are made in different ways to be delivered to the body. So some are made in form of tablets, some are made in form of solutions. Those are things you're going to find in the injections, some you'll find in the syrups, and then others are made in other form. I'll talk about these two only, the tablets and the solutions that we get in the injections. It's the delivery mode, really. If it's the same product with different formulations, it's delivery mode. You realize, I hope I don't get very technical, but when you realize that when you swallow a tablet, it has to go through the body's system to get the required point of action, where it's going to work. So it will have to go through the stomach has its own content, so it has to make sure it bypasses the stomach, or it bypasses any other part through the mouth to make sure it gets to the point of action. Now, what happens with the injections? Now, the injections are administered in a different way. Now, for them, they are sent almost direct to where they're going to act. Some of them are going to go into the vessels direct. Now, these vessels are usually send blood to the places where these medicines are going to act. And some of them probably are in tissues, and some might move so fast towards the places where they're going to act. So you're going to find that the onset of action, when they start acting, is faster when you're using the injections as regards to the tablets. But because of the kind of work that has been done on these two products, it is believed that the two should keep the same kind of effect. The onset, yes, when they start to act may vary. One may start faster, but at the end of the day, you're going to have same. It's believed to have the same results. So it's not that one is better than the other, but it's about when do they start, and it's because of the mode of delivery. This one, you deliver it a bit nearer, the one goes through the whole process to get the point of action.
Maybe just in addition, there's a reason why some formulations will be in tablets, others injectables. Now, for example, if you're in emergency mode, rarely will you use tablets. It will be slower to act, because here you're trying to ensure that you are maintaining life, or you are trying to arrest a calamity or something like that. So people need to know that it's not because there's someone saying, no, tablets never get me better. I prefer injection. That's just a fallacy.
So after the break, we'll be back to discuss a very contentious issue, the drugs which are not for sale, labeled Government of Uganda. What should you do if your pharmacy sells to you such drugs? Send in your questions and comments on on our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter. We're always happy to hear from you. Don't go away.
You are watching the Doctalk Show.